On this episode of Hudson Valley Hustle, I'm joined by Christian Palmer. Christian owns Relentless Fitness and Nutrition down in Westchester, a company that focuses on men specifically and their health and fitness journeys. I actually graduated high school with Christian, known him a really long time. He's a great dude, super nice guy. Hope you get a lot of value out of the interview. Enjoy. I feel like you've always been like jacked ever since I knew you in high school. Like you've just always been that way. Why were you like that? What got you into that?
So when I was 14, I was on the internet. I don't remember what I was searching for, but I came across a picture of a bodybuilder named Garrett Downing. I had no idea who he was. I just saw the picture and I was like, holy crap, like I want to look just like that. So that day, I went in my brother's room, and he used to have those weights that the plates were filled with sand. You had to screw the ends on. So I went in there, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just started moving stuff. And I'm like, okay, I should probably figure out how to do this the right way. So I'm just printing out papers, researching topics. And I was always into superheroes, and I loved how they were jacked, like Superman, Batman, Incredible Hulk, one of my favorites. And I was just always around like men who were fit. My uncle was in the Air Force. My dad was in the Army. So they always had physiques on them. And it was just an interesting thing. But that day when I saw that picture, I flipped the switch. It was just like all in as of that day. That next week, I started bringing my food to school. It was just like, boom, zero to 100. Yeah.
At 14.
Yes. And at that time, I'd also played football, did track and field, martial arts. So the athletic prowess was always there.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy, man. So fast forward to now. So you have it's a health and nutrition, fitness and nutrition company. How did you start that, and what made you decide to go and do that?
So I've always been in high school, my decision was between two things: health and fitness or culinary. I was considering going to the CIA to learn to be a chef. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
No kidding. I
That's awesome.
I had a recommendation like ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
fun.
So I was always, my mom's Italian, so growing up in an Italian kitchen, I was helping her cook as a kid, and I was always fascinated with food. My dad was born in Jamaica, so he used the Caribbean side of cooking. So it was always interesting how you could be creative and create a certain feel and look and presentation. All those things were very interesting. So I realized, I'm like, I love the fitness thing more. I'm like, I don't visualize myself as a chef as a career. So I went and got my exercise science degree. And when it was in high school, my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So at that point, I was already interested in nutrition. I knew that I had to figure out a way that I was supporting what my lifting was doing, right? I was already in sports, and I'm like, well, if in order to gain muscle, I probably have to eat a certain way. So again, back on the computer, researching, printing things out. And then when she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, then I'm like, okay, I got to be able to help her. In my head, that was my mission right then. So same thing, reading, researching. I'm like, okay, well, cool. Like, what does it mean when you're a type 2 diabetic? How do you fix it? And slowly over time, I start to help her make better choices with eating. Now, she makes traditional Italian food. So I'm like, okay, how can we do this in a more healthy way? And she was open to it. And I was always a all in all the time kind of guy. So I kind of annoyed her in the beginning. I'm like, oh, we have to make things different. She's like, get off my back.
Yeah.
Like, I will do it
Baby
over time.
steps.
Yes. All I understood was just like, change everything right now.
Yeah.
So over time, started to make healthier choices. Do you remember the gym Curves?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. Yep.
There was one over near where there was a pharmacy on Route 207. Was it 207?
Wait, is going out towards
or
Monroe?
208. Yeah.
Monroe? I know
Yes.
exactly. I know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
I want to say my mom used to go there.
Okay. So my mom went there, and because she was like, yeah, I got to start getting in shape. So she started going there, exercising. She used to do the 30-minute circuits that they had a couple times a week. And that combined with the food over time, started to lose weight, got better. Doctor, giving her hey, things are going well, keep it going. And eventually got to the point where she didn't need insulin anymore. And I was like, this is awesome.
Wow.
I'm like, well, if I can help her with that, I'm sure I can help other people. Now, kind of backtrack a little bit in high school, myself, I don't know if you remember Tim McGrody, Mike Self.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So we used to all go, Tom Kolodziejczyk, we used to all go to Village Fitness, which was right next to what was Burger King, I think, at the time.
Yep.
Or Subway. I think it was Burger King.
I might have been Burger King.
Yeah.
This is going back, man.
Yeah, man. And like, I just started lifting there after track practice, actually in the school's weight room first. Then once the season started, didn't really have time. So started going there, and I got my knack for coaching because they used to just do what I did because I was the guy who was going first. And they're like, hey, can we go with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm just correcting their form, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, you know, helping them get fit and better. And it was like our group thing that we did. Then after college, I'm like, all right, well, I'm probably going to get a job training. So my buddy worked at Equinox in Mamaroneck out in Westchester, and Jesse, and he was like, hey, man, you know, if you want a job or whatever, just let me know. I'll put in a recommendation. So he did that, went there, did the interview, rest is history. Worked there from 2013 to 2019. Then at that point, I'm like, look, I've got so many ideas. Westchester's a great place. You get to network with people. You learn about business. And I'm like, okay, if I want to scale this thing and take it huge, I'm like, the corporate way is not, you know, what I want to do. Equinox was great experience, taught me a lot of things, introduced me to a lot of great people. Okay, it's time for growth. So I met a business coach through my girlfriend, and he helped me go from working at Equinox to starting my own business. And while I was at Equinox, figure I give you the whole span, I started focusing specifically on men's health. Once I got probably in the third year of owning my business, because at Equinox, there was a lot of corporate guys I worked with, a lot of guys from Wall Street, executives, corporate CEOs, and they all had a lot of the same issues. And the thing that allowed me to connect with them is that they wanted similar things to me. They wanted to be healthy. They wanted to be able to be the best providers and protectors for their families, even though I don't have kids, mom, dad, friends. And they all knew that they could have better than they have now, right? Plenty of zeros in the bank, didn't feel the way they wanted to, didn't have the vigor they wanted. And it's my belief that every man should be their kid's superhero. And I'm like, I'm going to help these guys get this. So when they started to change their bodies and they're like, hey, you know, my cognitive function, I'm even doing better at work, relationship with the wife is better. You know, I'm able to play with my kids, my knee doesn't hurt, my back doesn't hurt. And they're like, I went to the doc and he said my blood pressure is better. I'm able to manage stress better. Now I'm more effective. The bottom line of the company is improving. And I'm like, well, this is a whole, you know, storm of great things. So then when I started my business, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do, like men's health specialist, nutritionist. And yeah, and then it's been going up since.
So since, what did you say, 19 you started that?
2019, yep,
Yeah.
in March of 2019.
That's good, man. So you have a pretty defined customer.
Yes.
How has that helped get you to where you're at?
That is a great question. So you can't hit what you can't see, right? And the more specific the target, it's just like GPS. You can say, I want to get to California, and you put in California. All right, well, where in California you want to get? And there's a lot of ways to get there. So what I learned from my business coach is the riches are in the niches, right? So you can provide a service for a lot of different people depending on what you do. But when it comes to helping people with specific things, the more you want to be the guy for the thing. It's like anyone who knows who Tim Grover is, who was Michael Jordan's trainer, right? If you want to become great at basketball and improve your game, that's the guy. It's like, get me Tim Grover. Not someone like him, but get me him, right? If you want to know about investing in stocks, get me Warren Buffett. Like, that's the guy I want to talk to, right? If you want to learn how to create a business that's online where 3 clicks and you got your product, get me Jeff Bezos. I want to talk to him. So I learned that you have to specify in the beginning who your target audience is, speak to them, learn their pain points. Because if you're the guy who the housewife can go to you, the kids can go to you for sports, right? Oh yeah, also the corporate CEO, yeah, you can help him too. And the person who's 85 years old and, you know, barely walking, you have a little bit of everything versus the corporate guy who, you know, has multi-7 figures, who appreciates the finer things in life. He's got a family, right? He's got either running a Fortune 500 company or he's a high up in one. And he lives a certain life. He eats at certain restaurants. He drives a certain car. He appreciates certain things. When you become that guy's right-hand man, get me Christian. Like, he can help me. Then they start to talk. And then you become the guy for that. So being specific in who you help is very helpful. And then once you're the guy, then you can branch out and start to, do some more things. So it's like an upside down pyramid.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dominate that one avatar, that one
Yes.
key a customer, and then, like you said, then you can kind of expand from there. Whereas, like you said, if you're trying to appease everybody early on, that was one of my mistakes in the beginning. Not so much trying to help everyone, but trying to help the people I could help with everything, right? As opposed to focusing on the core things that we do really, really well. Once you start focusing on those things that you do really, really well, it's a magic how things just kind of fit together and grow.
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
And you also realize that you can only be great at some people say you can only be great at one thing, right? And some people say you can only be great at a couple things. The one makes more sense. But it's true, because when you go all in on something, you realize, I'm trying to remember the quote and who it was, but basically you start to realize when you read deeply and you learn and you start to practice into things, how little you actually know, even if you know a lot. You're like, oh my God, there's new research, new things to learn, more people to meet, more strategies to get to a certain result. And then if you try to do that amongst tons of things, like, hey, I'm a mindset coach and I also do nutrition, and hey, if you need a business coach, and I also clean houses, and you're like, dude, you're definitely not great at any of them.
Right? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. You said you had a business coach pretty early on. I'm actually really personally curious about that. How do you think a business coach is valuable in the beginning or at any stage of business?
Extremely. So think about any high performer in anything. Most of us have mentors, and or maybe if it's not an official person you pay for, which it always should be, at some point, we have people who we look up to for certain things. So if you're into sports, every kid's got a favorite athlete, right? I want to be like Mike, right? I want to be like Tom. If you're in the business world, there's people you look up to. Now that could be Warren Buffett. It could be Charlie Munger. It could be, whoever it is. But you're like, I'm reading the things that they talk about, or I'm following their strategies on how to make money, how to network. And when you're, in the beginning, you're going to make mistakes. That's a part of the process of anything, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's culinary. So if someone said, okay, Joe, you can open you want to open a restaurant, have at it. And you're like, all right, I guess I could get a location, but I got to get money first. So how do I get the money? Versus if someone said you can work with Chef Ramsay for 6 months and it would be an all-intensive, which scenario do you think you'd grow faster?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Because if Ramsay would say, here's all the things that the mistakes you're not going to make because I made them. So those are automatically off the table. So it's like the sniper round versus the machine gun.
Yep.
So you're going to try all these things. So some people say in the beginning, well, let me get my feet started, then I'll hire a coach. The best way to get your feet started in the right direction is to hire a coach. So the coaches are great all along the journey. And I've realized this, making mistakes on my own when I didn't have one. And I had a coach and then stopped for a while. I think I'm good, right? Not forever, but I think I'm good for right now. And then you start to realize, man, all these things come up that I never came across before. I need to ask someone about this. Let me get another coach.
Don't your clients say the same thing though when they stop for a little while? I mean, like, you're literally the coach for your clients, and it's like it's always the way, right? Like we get so caught up in like what we do that we're like, we don't need, I don't need that. I'm too busy doing this, too busy doing that. Where like, no, you still do need to help. Exactly,
and you start to learn that for everything. It's like when we think about what we want to accomplish in life, whether it's business, family. Okay, kids. I don't have them, but you do. So you know what it's like raising 2 boys. There's no manual that comes with it, right? Now you can ask people who have 2 boys and they'll give you some good insight, but they're not the exact same as yours. But that person's input's still valuable. Yeah, when you get to the teenagers, they're going to be like this. They're going to become really rambunctious. They're going to say no to everything that you say, right? Do this. No, I don't want to do that.
The 3-year-old does that now too. But
right? Yeah, so, and then there's a certain age where he's like, yeah, when they're really young, they're not going to sleep really consistently. You're going to be up at night. The wife's going to be feeding them. It's going to be, partner effort. Say bye to sleep for a while, right? Or at least a consistent sleep schedule. So that person giving you that insight, you can plan your life around it. Okay, well, if I had this meeting in the morning, that's probably not going to work based on the schedule. So,
sure.
Right? So now you don't run into, oh my God, like I'm tired and I got nothing done this week. Okay, that guy gave me good insight. Now I can so the same thing with a business coach. And also, what did I say? The more you pay attention. So having skin in the game in that regard, okay, I just paid this guy $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the coach requires. You're much more likely to actually do the things and get to the result faster. So now you start to see you've actually saved yourself. Imagine it took you a year longer to get to a certain bottom line.
Sure.
Okay, we want to make 100,000 by 2026. And let's say you get to 40,000 by 2026. But if you had hired a coach, maybe you get to 150,000.
Sure.
So how much money did you just give up by not investing in that coach?
Absolutely. It's definitely an investment. I like that. The more you pay, the more you pay attention. Like I always say we don't value things that are free.
Yes.
We don't, right?
Yes.
And like in your case with clients, like our bodies, right?
100%.
Our bodies are free. And we destroy them.
Yes.
But a beautiful car that we pay a lot of money for, we take care of.
Yes.
We wash it. We make sure that you don't eat in it. You do this, that, and the other thing.
I use
but
that
like
analogy all the time.
But the most valuable thing we have,
it's true.
we don't give a shit about.
It gives you interesting perspective, and that's always the case. And I mean, especially with the guys I deal with, they all have nice cars, right? You got a nice Range, you got a Porsche, you got a whatever. And I'm like, that thing is immaculate. What's going on with you? I'm like, why are you treating that more than you? And they're like, yeah, it's just things are busy. Until, ow, this hurts. Uh-oh, the doc told me I've got a 75% blockage in this artery. Okay, what do we do? Now it's fix-it mode.
Reactive, yeah.
Yes. I'm like, proactive is the best way because then you never have that issue. Because you're going to make time for it eventually, or it's going to get the best of you. And then it's, oh, man, I wish I did. I wish I could. Right? And a lot of it is, it's not that they want to be jacked, right? It's like, yeah, I'd love to look good. I'd love to feel confident. I'd love to go to the beach, take my shirt off and be like, thank you. I'm glad I did that work, right? Or when I pick my daughter up, I don't want my back to go out, right? Or my knees to hurt. And a lot of that's playing with them. So a lot of the guys, I get them to focus, listen, if you wouldn't do this for yourself, do it for your family. Because they're going to benefit. And when the wife sees you get in shape, all right, maybe she starts, maybe I should get to the gym too. And now it becomes a family thing. You eat healthier, now the kids are eating healthier. Everyone benefits.
Yeah, of course.
And I especially put that, I'm not going to say put that on, but and emphasize that to the guys because, as the father, you're the leader for the house, right? Everyone looks at you to be the rock, to be the guiding light. So
you still think that's true today, man? I feel like I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I just feel like that's kind of going away to the detriment of society personally. What do you think about that?
I agree that it is becoming the detriment. And I think that, okay, so I often look at different time periods and how people acted, the standards they had for themselves. Like, look back in the 50s. How did people dress?
Sure. Maintain a much higher standard.
Like that song,
yeah.
Every Woman Loves a what is it?
Sharp-dressed man.
Sharp-dressed man, exactly. Yep. And everyone had the tie with the button-down shirt. You would even dress for dinner. Go wash up and get dressed for dinner.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, it is what it is. People go to church in their Sunday best, right?
Sure.
And there was a standard for everything. Now kids walk around in pajama pants all day. And I mean, that started even when we were in high school.
It did, yeah, definitely.
But I look, and I even remember going to church back then, is like you would see a lot of the older individuals, I'm talking 60s, 70s, 80s, they'd come there.
They still had that. They still had that decorum.
And I always admired that because I'm like, there's a standard that a friend of mine when I used to work at Lululemon in 2011, he said, I dress for how important something is to me. And I was like, well, that's interesting. When he went to college, he used to dress in chinos and a button down. I'm like, interesting, because some college kids just go, again, in their pajama pants. Because they're like, I'm just trying to make it, man. I'm hungover and I just need to get this degree. And then I'm, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I treat it as important as it is. And I thought about that and I was like, interesting. And as soon as he said that to me, I actually started dressing a little better because I'm like, when you see someone in a suit, right? You automatically, there's a level of respect you have for them, even if you don't know who they are.
Sure.
You're like, there's something there, whether they're successful, maybe they're not successful, but they respect how they come across. There's a trust factor. If two people come up to you, one is just in tattered clothing, it's torn, it's another guy in a suit. Who are you going to trust? If they're like, hey man, I need a lift, my car broke down, he could be Jeffrey Dahmer, right? But he's in a suit, so you're like, okay.
Let me at least hear what he's got to say.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
And the same thing with, there's no second chance to make a first impression. And that had a big effect on me when I started networking more. Being in Westchester, you're surrounded by it. And there's people on two ends of the spectrum. There's guys who are, and women who are really, really wealthy and they dress in whatever they want. They don't need to impress anybody. Then there's people who are really wealthy and they dress the best. You see them and you're like, man, that dude looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's tailored. It looks nice. And that, I feel like that's important because you're a representation. If you have a family, someone sees a father who dresses well, something there.
Yeah, of course. Right? Absolutely.
And then your kids see that. They pick that up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, your kids are a product of basically of
Yeah.
you. Like that's the way they grow up, right?
Yeah. So wait, to your point also of fathers being the head of the household, there is a change in that. And we all know society's changing. Now, back then I look at how the households were run, we'll say, like who is in charge of what. There's the gender roles that they say, right? And I don't think that they have to be done in any certain way. I think you pick what works best for your family, as long as everyone's invested in the family unit getting better, growing, people are healthy, making progress in life. I do think that having the father as the leader of the household, and this hierarchy, if you will, was told to me and it made sense. So for people who are religious, they'll understand the top part of it. They say God is a good leader of man. Man is a good leader of woman. Woman is a good leader of children. And in that order.
Yeah,
because,
there's your hierarchy, sure.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about psychology, women like to be led by men. What do I mean by that? When you first meet a girl and you're like, hey, I'd love to take you out. You're really pretty, whatever. What does she expect? I'd love for you to pick me up. Just tell me what to wear, where we're going, what time to be ready. They don't want to plan the day. Okay, well, where should we go? She's like, I don't know. Why don't you figure that out? But I don't know what to do. She'd be like, okay, I'm actually kind of busy, so let me, right?
Yeah.
And they like to be led by men. I'm not saying that they have to be, the man has to determine everything, but they like to show up, look good, have a good time. When it comes to kids, women do an amazing job because they're great nurturers. They do a great job of turning children into like adolescents, right? Like women or babies into girls, and then little boys, babies into little boys. A man will turn a little boy into a man. And a man is also a great example of what a woman will date when she gets older. Well, my dad was this way, so, I want a man who has integrity, who has... So I think a man makes a great, the rock, the guiding light for his household. And I think a woman is a great supporting role in that family unit because she's there to help him when he needs help, and he's there to help her when she's going through something and she's stressed. I just need someone to talk to or listen to. I don't know. Is it going to be okay? It's going to be okay. Don't worry. We'll be fine. Right? So I think that nowadays, they're teaching families or women, the whole boss babe revolution. I'm fine with women being in corporate positions if that's what they want. But something I also notice is that there's a lot of women now who are getting the little dogs because they're waiting longer to have kids, right? Because they want to nurture something because they're great at it. And a lot of them who are not as happy in life, right? They get to those 30, because biology...
Can't stop it.
Exactly. So they get to a certain age and they're like, man, I thought I would have had kids by now. I'm starting to... That biological clock is, man, I got to find me a husband. And they're, am I ever going to find... Where's all the good men? It's like... They approached you, but you wanted your career over family, and now you're kind of rushing. So I'm not saying that either path is the correct one, but if you follow your genuine heart, it seems that traditional household tends to work well for a lot of people in one or more ways.
There's still a tremendous amount of value there.
Yes.
In that traditional kind of sense. Absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, I know things change, but I think I agree with you, man. I'm more of a traditional, like old school type of person. And it works for us. You know what I mean? Like it works for us. I started a business so my wife could stay home with the kids. That's what she wanted. That's what she wanted. It's not like,
great at it.
And she lives for it, dude. Like I could not do that. I could not do that job.
Yes.
I'm the go out, kill something, and drag it home type of person. Correct. She's taking care of the cave. You know what I mean? Like that's what she does. She loves it. Now, if she wanted to go and do the other thing, also great. Whatever you want to do, we'll make it work. But I think there is a lot of value to that traditional type of dynamic.
And you've created the environment for that to happen, right? Because again, you just said, as men, we're conquerors. We want to. They say that to have a great life, every man needs a mission. And that's why when men don't have a mission, they're lost and they give into vices of whatever those things are. So for some people it's alcohol, for some people it's whatever. But when you don't have a direction, same thing like that GPS. Well, if you want to get to California and you're just going, okay, we're going to go Georgia, okay, we're going to go Dakota, okay, we're going to go, versus I've got a mission and a direction, maybe there's a coach, there's guiding lights, boom, I go straight there. So that helps that family unit. When the man has his mission, everyone moves in the right direction. When he loses it, you can see the wife starts to get like, okay, well, where are we going in life? What's happening? What are the kids? You know, the kids, like I said, I believe every man should be his kid's superhero. When your dad's not taking care of himself, not leading the household and a strong individual, you picture that, you know, Superman, hands on the hips, the cape's blowing in the wind, big chest, right? That's like what the father kind of like wants to be. But if he's not, you know, that has an effect.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So fitness, man, it's a lot of discipline, right? I have my own like fitness journey that I'm on and all that, and it's a difficult thing to maintain. Does being as hardcore into fitness and that discipline translate over to your business life?
For me.
Yeah, for you, yeah.
Yes, because, so, okay, how people... I'm a firm believer, and this is one of my favorite statements or quotes, if you will, of all time, is how you do anything is how you do everything. Now, it doesn't mean that you can be great at everything, right? But Mike Tyson, my favorite athlete of all time, said how you fight your fights is how you live your life. Some people, things get hard, they give up, right? Oh, they tap out. Oh, it's too much. Some people, let me just dip my toe in the water. I'm not really gonna, because then if I don't do as well as I thought I would, I can always say, well, I didn't try my hardest, so, you know, I could have. And I think most people have much more potential than they allow themselves to access in their fitness, in their business. I think that what fitness has taught me is how capable I actually am. When things get hard, you still got more in you, right? You also always have something to fall back on, because we were just talking about, you know, health being something that allows you to live a great life. Let's say for some reason finances aren't where they need to be. For some reason your relationship's kind of on the rocks. Just, you're not really sure, like, what's my mission in life? What can you always fall back on? Fitness. You know what? Let me get in the gym. I'm going to feel better. I've never come across anyone in my life who did a workout and were like, you know what? I'm pissed I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. It's always like, oh my God, I feel great. I want to run through a wall, right? And that translates to other things. So when you have your health and fitness in order, you're automatically going to be more confident. Automatically. That will translate to when you meet someone and you go to shake their hand. Good handshake. I feel confident. I feel good. Versus the guy who's like, oh, hey, kind of nice to meet you. Giving the spaghetti fingers, right? And I think that also allows you to, again, be that superhero for your kids. And then in the business world, you see two guys in two suits. One guy, very overweight. One guy in shape. And this is just biology. Why do superheroes, why are they jacked? Because they know the kids are like, wow, like, look at his arms and look at his shit, right? There's a reason. Even Spider-Man, smaller, but still muscular, right?
It's like a soccer player.
Exactly.
Spider-Man's like a soccer player.
Correct. So it allows me to, one, keeps this feeling good. Two, keeps the body running well. And three, I'm also a billboard for my business, right? If I didn't look a certain way, people would be like, hey, he probably doesn't know what he's talking about. If someone was a financial advisor, oh, you're broke? Yeah, right. About that. So I think that it's helped me learn discipline. It's helped me understand that even if you don't feel like doing it, do it. You might not feel like making content today. Do it, right? Because those people who are following you, who are spending their time, which is the most valuable thing on earth, are like, oh, well, he usually has videos. What's happening? Well, I guess I'll find another page. Maybe you just lost business now. Mm-hmm. And it also allows you to be a good example for others. And that's not the thing necessarily to focus on, but for some people it is. Like for me, a lot of my drive is for other people, right? There's the people you end up inspiring that you don't even know, right? Mm-hmm. Like you taking care of yourself. Somebody sees that. Could be your kids, could be someone walking down the street. man, Joe's looking awesome, man. I got to get my stuff together. The wife's like, yeah, you know what, man, I'm so glad he takes care of himself. Like, I'm proud to walk around with him and be on his arm. And all those things come into play to help me run a better business and, guide me down my path in a more strong and true way.
Having that mission, having that
Exactly.
head-on mission. That's awesome, man. So business is good for you, man. Do you have anybody working for you, or is it just you being like a solopreneur? What's the deal?
So, solopreneur, I've got an assistant.
Okay.
I've got a coach who, when people come in looking for personal training,
Yeah.
he trains them. Just because for me, it's the time is spent creating content, doing podcasts, and
Yep.
and networking, and so on and so forth. So basically solopreneur.
That's
now.
that's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough when everything's on you. That's for sure. But again, you've got that freaking discipline where that's what I think kills a lot of guys that are working for themselves is the too much freedom, lack of discipline, nothing gets done.
Yes. That's because that is extremely hard, especially now with social media, just phones.
There's
Having a phone-
distractions.
Oh my God.
All over the place.
And I hear this more and more. So there's several entrepreneurs that I love and follow. Jesse Itzler, Patrick Bet-David, Grant Cardone. A lot of
PBD.
guys.
Love my PBD.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I actually had the honor of meeting him once in Greenwich, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And that was a funny story. But anyways, so these guys all follow that. It's extremely valuable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I love it, man. So so you've kind of like told me your ideal customer. If somebody out there is listening, watching, seeing this for the first time, that is that guy, maybe a high earner, maybe getting a little bit of a dad bod, not feeling as great, his knee's starting to hurt, can't swing the golf club as hard as he used to be able to. How do they reach out to you to fix that?
So, I mean, for me, relentlessfitnessandnutrition.com or my social media, Christian F. Palmer. And, a lot of what I encourage them to do is don't come in expecting anything specific except for results. A lot of guys think, I've had guys say like, oh, you know what, let me get in a little bit better shape before I reach out. No. You come as you are. Okay, there's no expectation that you have to be here. The only thing I expect is that you're committed. And even that, you build on it over time, right? Because results naturally make people more motivated to be more disciplined, right? A lot of people think, I have to feel this invisible force of motivation that's going to lift me out of bed and put me in the gym.
Yeah.
And it's, no, it's you do the thing, then you feel the way. So come in and understand that it takes time. We are in a culture now where we're sold the 6-minute ab culture.
Yeah.
And then it was 3 minutes. And then it was 30-second abs. And then now they got those ab belts you put on you that you zap you. They brought those back.
They did that? The ones where you're just like, you're shaking the whole time?
And you're like, dude, you could tase yourself. You're not going to get fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I was actually going to ask that. I know we're trying to wrap up, but like I'm curious because you brought up the exact point that I wanted to bring up is we're at a time now where we get instant gratification for just about anything. Fitness, health, nutrition, there is nothing instant about it, right? It's over time. How do you get somebody that needs that instant win to start because they're not going to feel it immediately? What do you tell somebody like that?
That's a great question. So I tell them, one, you have, just like with religion, you have to believe the results are going to happen. Okay? Meaning, I believe in myself. I believe that in my ability to produce results. Then I tell them, you got to get started, no matter what. Tell me one thing in life that you're going to get the result without getting started and doing some effort. We're sold that, get rich quick, get fit quick. Then I'll ask guys, when they come to me and, they've tried the juice cleanses and all the whatever things, the shake weight, right? I actually haven't had any clients who've tried that, but they come to me and I'm like, so, how's it working out for you? Always ask that question. If it's not working, they'll say, well, not so good. Okay, so the get fit quick thing didn't work. Okay, are you open to trying this? Yes. Cool. Because there's no way around it. That's why a fit body is so well respected. You have to earn it. You can't, there's no way around it. Even a huge bank account can be handed over, can be inherited, can be a fit body has to be earned. So there's no, and in that journey, I'm telling you, the changes that these men feel, they become, they live life with more integrity. They have more confidence. They're able to, they build better relationships with their kids, with their wife. They look at themselves in a new way. Every man gets up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you have that talk. Okay, we got to go on the mission today. How do I feel about myself? Am I confident? Am I going where I need to in life? Am I investing in my relationships the way I should? Am I actually working on my business how I should? When you start to get healthier and you realize that you're conquering that part of your life, which is the hardest part, let me add, you're always going to feel better about yourself. And then you're going to want it more, right? As opposed to, oh, it's Friday, me and the boys are going to go out drinking. I got to go back to work on Monday. All right. You get on a mission to get yourself fit, it's all benefit. Because you do the thing, you feel the way, you want more of it, and it's just, it's an awesome cycle.
I feel like I want to run through a wall now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's how it is.
let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's good, man. So yeah, anybody out there who's looking to get fit, guys, call Christian. I mean, look at him. Just look at him. Like you said, you're the poster child of the business, man. So
exactly. And again,
congrats.
It's not. And like I said, it's so much more than just looking a certain way, because how you feel is how you operate in life. So it's like, even if I've got clients who come to me just for the mental. They're like, dude, I don't care about a six pack. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to, be at a healthy weight so that my blood work is good, so that, my body's operating like it should. But they're like, dude, I do this for my head. I'm putting out fires all day, firing people, traveling, planes, trains, automobiles, running. I've got how many thousand employees. I need this to be right. And then the body comes and like, oh, well, this is an awesome side effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you always enjoy it. So
love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. Good luck to you. Congrats on everything, man. It's so good to see you, man. Like,
yes.
I feel like I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Good seeing you.
Appreciate it.